Good morning. Welcome back to Little Hollow Homestead. Previous video, I'm putting my garden to bed for the winter. So I'm going to finish that project up today. We're going to start, as you can tell, down here in the hollow I have no shortage of leaves. Got them everywhere. So, in all my pots, I'm just going to top dress everything with about 2 or 3 inches of leaves. Let that sink down over the winter, decompose as best they can, and then we'll mix that up a little bit in the spring when we plant. Another thing I'm going to do is as I clean out my chicken coop, I'm just going to take just a small amount of chicken manure and just put on top of these leaves. Kind of let the nutrients and the nitrogen in that chicken poop break down the leaves over the winter and hopefully provide some good nutrients for my soil. Another thing I'm going to do, I need to run down to Tractor Supply or Home Depot or Walmart or somewhere and grab me some fish meal and bone meal, and I'll also top dress these leaves with that too. Like I said before, where I had this big infestation of squash bugs, I'm raking all this out, all the litter, all the debris, all the mulch on top of these these in-bed containers that I've got. Just anything that a squash bug egg could overwinter in, I'm going to get rid of. Totally move it, throw it in the garbage, get it off the property. So that's the project for today. I got a good start here. We're going to keep on cranking, and then once we get the leaves top dressed, I will begin the process of cleaning out the hen house, getting them some new litter for winter, which will be beneficial for them as well, and get all that ammonia and stuff that's collected over the summer in their hen house, get that out of there for them so they've got a nice cozy place to spend the winter. So here we go. So one thing I'll do when I clear these in-ground pots off that don't have a squash bug infestation or a powdery mildew infestation is I'll just let them sit. I won't till the soil up or anything. All I'm going to do is what I'm doing to my pots. I just put a top dressing of leaves on and just a little bit of chicken manure on top of them. And that's the plan. Try to avoid sticks if you can. They take a little longer to break down, but not the end of the world if one ends up in your containers. Oh, the ground is frozen already. Look at that. The great thing about leaf mulch is it's free. If you've been paying attention in my videos, it makes me very happy. I like free stuff. Now she found it. I think what I'm going to do, I showed this in the last video, I put these vertical wires up, but I'm finding it's hard to access the pots from up there. So I think what I might do is just cut this wire out, just so I can at least get my hands in there, planting, weeding, fertilizing, stuff like that. So, I don't know. So I don't know, as you can tell, it's hard to get back here. Kind of oversight on my part, but Hey, it's all part of the process, right? So you can put that away for the winter. The war of the squash bugs 2022 is over. Thank heavens. It was a lot easier when I was 20. All my old sunflowers that have died off, I like to spread them out so they kind of expand their range every year, and I get more and more down here. I think it looks nice. She's just a little bit obsessed with her tennis ball. Okay, so anywhere a squash bug egg could possibly hide, it is going. Until I get down to the, hey, whoa, look at that. Sweet. Oh, there's another one. This is one of my volunteer potato plants. I had potatoes in these 2 years ago, and I think that might warrant grabbing a shovel. See what other little treasures I can find in there. That's a good find. I'm sure I'll have to battle the squash bugs again next year, but this might give me a little time before the population explosion again. I know they say a lot of times you don't want to plant the same crop in the same pots or the same location every year. But I find if you take care of your soil and you amend it, I really don't have a lot of problem with planting, say, spaghetti squash in the same spot every year. Bone meal, fish meal, a good balanced fertilizer, and lots of good mulch. And I think it replaces anything that the plant takes out of the soil, puts it right back in. So, I don't know. Sometimes I'll move stuff around just because I want to, but I really don't do it intentionally with the thought of crop rotation. So, I may be wrong, but I've never had a problem. So, that's the plan going forward. So normally I wouldn't disturb the soil in these pots that I grow things other than potatoes, because to get the potatoes I have to disturb the soil in the pots. But I normally wouldn't disturb these for the winter time. I would just follow the same method: top dress it, put a little bit of chicken manure on top, and let them sit over winter. But because of our little unexpected treasure here, let's see if there's something else down here that I hopefully don't slice with the shovel. That's one nice thing about growing potatoes in containers, is your odds of slicing a potato are reduced to about 0. Thought I saw something in there. I guess I didn't. Well, 2 potatoes isn't bad. So you can kind of see all the root systems and all that what am I trying to say? Just these roots and materials and stuff. So that's the whole idea. When you leave them in the ground, those roots, the worms love them. They help aerate the soil when they decompose. They're really good to have in your soil. That's a big reason why I don't disturb the soil in these pots. Another thing, there's a nice little tiny wormy. We'll put him back to bed. A lot of times, like I don't do it all the time, but most of the time I'll just take and clip the plants off and just let those roots stay in the soil and let them decompose. for that reason, it helps the worms love them, and helps the soil aeration, and helps the water get down in there the next year. Plus, it leaves everything kind of still and put to bed for the winter time. So, but 2 potatoes isn't bad. We'll take those. Baked potatoes. Here you go. Here you go, buddy. So these were all my experimental pots that I drained. Just noticed one of the reasons I probably didn't have great success is I did not put a drainage hole in this one. So it probably sat in a swamp all summer, which explains why there was nothing growing in it. So we'll just fill these back up and put them to bed like all the other ones. Another big problem I had this year, as you can see, I added this wire, but before I had this bigger gauge, or this bigger wire with openings, and the deer would stick their heads through here, and anything they could reach, they would just nibble it off. So I've added this, keep the deer out. That should help. So that's my project this winter, is completing my drip line irrigation system so I don't have to hand water every day. So I've got the main supply line around the horseshoe part. I'll run another line, I'll put a T right there and run a line down to feed those pots and a T here to feed these pots. And that'll be in an upcoming video, hopefully not too long. Okay, so these, purposely let these go long to save the seeds. And so they're not completely dry, but they're pretty dry. They look like they're good mature seeds. We'll harvest these and plant them again next year. I'll get them out of the water first, but I'll take these seeds in, lay them out. I've got a little rack in my garage. Lay them out, let them completely get dry before I actually store them for the winter time in I've got a little seed bin that I keep all my seeds in. So looks like this will work for next year. Those are good looking seeds. And we'll keep harvesting. We should have enough to grow a ton of beans next year. All right, well, I had to go to work yesterday, so I couldn't finish cleaning out the hen house or getting the garden completely put to bed. So we'll start off this morning, head down and finish the job. As always, the first little hen that greets me every morning is my little red here. Morning, little girl. You're up bright and early. Let's go get to work. So I'm making up a few more pots to complete that bottom row. It still has some room. So the way I do that, just grab old 5-gallon buckets, pots, whatever. I drill 4 holes in the bottom, and then I just add, doesn't matter, sticks, leaves, whatever, into the bottom, and then I'll fill it with just some native soil here, mixed with some of this Miracle-Gro garden soil. Mix that up, and then I'll amend it like I do all my other pots with bone meal, blood meal, and maybe some worm castings, and then top dress it like I've done the rest, and then top it off with a little dollop of chicken manure when I get that cleaned out. So that's the plan. We'll keep you updated as we make progress. So now I've got some native soil in there. I'm just gonna top it off with some of this gardening mix. I want to leave enough room in the top so I'll be able to dress it with some leaves, manure, and hopefully I'll have some finished compost in the spring that I can mend my soil with. So do that. And then you just get in here and just give it a really good mix. Get all that mixed up in there. And then we'll put them in place, top dress them, and we'll show you the finished product. So I have just enough room to put these 2 totes I've been saving to grow potatoes in. Whoop. We'll give us some drainage holes. You definitely want potatoes to be well drained. Otherwise they will rot. So we'll follow the same process. Just grab a bunch of debris from under the trees here, leaves, sticks, a little bit of straw. I've got some extra straw laying around. Fill the bottom of those totes with that debris. Then again, mixture of native soil and my Miracle-Gro garden soil. Amend it with the fertilizers, top dress, yada, yada, yada. We'll be in business. So you may have seen these laundry baskets in the background of my previous segments. I'm going to attempt the Ruth Stout method next year of growing potatoes. If you're not familiar with that, you grow them just in straw. So you put a layer of straw, layer of seed potatoes, layer of straw, layer of seed potatoes, and just grow them in straw. We'll give that a shot next year. So that's another experiment. So I need to save a little bit of room somewhere in there for a couple of laundry baskets. Well, the sun's just coming up here in the hollow, and we've got all our containers put away for winter. In the previous segment, I suggested I was probably going to cut the bottom of this vertical support off, which I did. So now I'm able to get in, work with my plants without having to come in that back side, which is almost impossible. Took me a minute to figure it out, but reaching under where I cut these completely off, those are going to be a little rough on the hands. Well, it took me about 4 feet to finally figure out to cut it long and then to bend this up and over so that now your hand can slide in and out. So lesson learned there, I guess. But yeah, everything's put away for the winter time. We'll be ready to start planning for next year, map out my garden. I really enjoy mapping it out, trying to figure out what's going to go where, what new varieties I want to plant. Thought I'd show you inside of the chicken, or the hen house rather. So I've got it all with a new layer of straw on the bottom. Help protect from draft, give them some insulation from the bottom of the coop. You can see I got a little window there. That's just to give them a little bit of light in the wintertime especially. Natural light, so I'm not forcing them to lay, but it does give them a little extra light. I've got multiple perches for them to lay on, sit on. And when I'm done, I just fold this old carpet square right back down there, and it will eventually lay straight and seal that off. Well, I had the straw, refurbished my nest boxes. Both of those are ready to go. Till next time, even got an egg already this morning. So there you go, the chickens are ready for winter. So now's the time us gardeners, once our gardens are put away for the winter time, prep for next year, our minds start spinning. We start looking at seed catalogs, coming up with new ideas, things we want to do for next year. I like to take a map, especially since I've kind of reconfigured my garden this year, added a bunch of new containers. And I've added the vertical panels that I'm going to grow vertically. So that opens up a whole new world for me for beans, melons, anything that's going to climb, indeterminate tomatoes, things like that, cucumbers. So I'm going to start planning my garden. I map it out exactly where each pot is, and then decide what's going to go where, what will work best. The top part of my garden is a little more sunny. Down here in the hollow, the bottom tier here gets a little shadier sooner, so not quite as much sunlight. So I factor that in, and it's what I'm going to plant on the bottom tier, middle tier, and upper tier. And so yeah, that's kind of the plan. If you've got any ideas of anything you've grown in the past that you've really enjoyed, maybe I haven't heard about it, let me know. I'd love to try some new varieties, some new things. So that's it for today. It took me 3 days to complete this project. I've got a pesky thing called a full-time job that keeps me occupied. But we got her done, stuck with it, and got chickens cleaned out. They're ready for winter, garden's ready for winter. So next project is I need to run my hose bib at the top of the hill. I'm gonna cut that pipe off. I'm gonna trench all the way down to right here on this corner post. That's where my new hose bib's gonna be. That's where I'll hook in my pressurized irrigation. Also have a hose so that I can take care of the chickens, and have a water source down here, much like I did down there by the meat chickens. I did that a couple of years ago, just to have water down by them, and then to water my walnut trees and things that I've got growing down here. Trying to get this a little more established with some productive trees and vegetation, and make it a little more enjoyable down here. Anyway, thanks for stopping by Little Hollow Homestead this morning. We got done just before the sun came up, so that's a good thing. Got us a nice little fire to keep us warm. So as always, thanks for all the subscriptions, the thumbs up, the comments. I really appreciate getting feedback. It's great to hear from you guys from all over the world. And until next time, we'll see you later on Little Hollow Homestead.